is a trick that can be done with a borrowed deck of cards. They can be shuffled by the spectator. Ask them to just think of any four of a kind that they like. They can select any one. It is a free choice. So let's say in this case they said queens. So we're going to look through the deck. We want to ensure that all four queens are in the deck because, of course, the trick won't work if there aren't all four queens. So we go through and I find all four. So I'm going to up jog the queens so they can see they're all there. And now we're going to shuffle them back into the deck. And then I'm going to hand the deck back to the spectator. And the rest is going to happen in their hands. So I'll ask them to start dealing on the table. Tell them to deal into a pile. And they can stop whenever they want. So they'll deal and deal and deal. Let's say they said stop right there. You put the rest of the deck aside. You'll ask them to take the pile. They stopped where they wanted to. And they're going to deal into four piles. So they'll deal into four piles. And then when they're done dealing, you're going to ask them to select any one of the four piles. And that pile is going to have a queen on top of it. So they can pick any one they want. So they think about it. Let's say they pick this one. You can offer they could change their mind if they want to switch to a different pile. Let's say they switch to this pile. They flip it up, and of course, it has a queen on top. Now, usually at this point, someone's going to ask, well, what would have happened if they picked a different pile? Let them flip over a different pile and see what would have happened. Of course, it didn't matter because there was a queen on top of all four piles. So one of the things that's great about this trick is it really does not require any setup at all. They really can shuffle as much as they want, and they can name any four of a kind they want. So let's say they said tens this time. You're going to go through the deck and make sure that the deck has all four tens. And this is a logical thing to do, especially if you have a borrowed deck of cards, because sometimes people are missing cards. They've used these cards for a long time. They've lost some of them. So you want to make sure that all four are there. What you're actually doing, though, is setting up the four tens. When I do the shuffle, I'm actually moving the four tens to the top of the deck. I do that by tilting forward, and I'll show you from the side view. I'm going to put my index finger in the front. I'm going to let these top few cards fall on top of the tens. And then I'm going to shuffle by peeling all of these cards out. So I've got the four tens and then some random cards on top. And if I just squeeze here and pull, I can pull the tens right out. So now I have these random cards, but I have the four tens all the way on the top. So once I've done that, I let these cards fall into my hands, and now I just start pulling cards off the top and dropping them on top to look like I'm shuffling. But what essentially I've done is set the deck up with the four tens right on top. Now from the front, that move is hard to see. It looks like you're just shuffling the cards. Now that you've got your cards set up, you can hand these cards to the spectator, or you can do it yourself if you're not comfortable having them handle the cards. So you can do it yourself and start dealing. Just make sure you get past four cards before you say anything about stopping. It doesn't matter where they stop. This doesn't have to be a perfect multiple of four. Any number of cards will work because you've just dealt the cards to the bottom now. So the four tens are on the bottom of this packet. When they deal into four piles, they're going to have to end on the four tens. Regardless of which four piles they end on, the last four cards are going to be tens. So this one was already a 10, and the other three were just tens. Now, how you choose to reveal it at the end is up to you, but I like doing it this way. I'll ask them to pick a pile, and when they flip the card over, of course, it's going to be a 10. Now, sometimes people will ask, well, what if you picked a different pile? Other times you get somebody who's a little handsy and they reach over and they flip it over themselves. The trick's done, and then someone comes over, just flips this over, and they see another 10, and now their mind is really blown.